Hello, guys. My name is Ayo. Welcome to the All Hands, Open All Hands of the Funding All Circles community. I will be your host today. We have quite fantastic things to discuss, and I look forward to all the conversations and all the insights that we will draw together in those discussions. But before we, hit the road, we have a very interesting ice-breaking thing that we would like to do. So, Miriam, um, can we go break some ice?
Okay, thank you, Aya. So today I'm helping out Priscilla with the icebreakers. We thought to do a change of face a bit, and we have a very interesting one, and I'd like to know your thoughts. Priscilla already shared her answers before we had started this, but this is the question: if you won the lottery but didn't tell anyone, like not a single soul, how would your friends and family know? What are the signs that would inform your friends and family that, okay, yeah, Rafael definitely won the lottery. Definitely. There's money now, so much money. So yes, let's hear your answers. Well, heavy random alerts, okay? With you. Actually, I agree. I don't think anyone would know if Yan ever wins the lottery. He has the most interesting face ever. Okay.
They in my case they would know because I would disappear and nobody would know about my where I would be. So
Oh, oh,
just
okay.
kidding. They would be all with me, of course, including you guys. I would take you as well with me.
No,
Oh,
this
okay.
is a sign that if Raphael disappears, all of us know that he
You know
has
that, yeah,
blown.
he has really won the
No,
lottery. He has
I
really,
I I would rent this cruise ship and would put all of you, friends, family, everybody in, and we would spend a year or so there.
oh, that's lovely. You guys put Raphael in your prayers, so that you've heard he has the plans for you all to enjoy if he wins. If he wins, we all win. Ubio says sorry, they will never know. You know what? I get it. There are some family members I don't think I want to ever uh, let's know that I have money. So yes, there's that. Okay, guys, we have a few more seconds. How would they know? Nobody will ever know. We enjoy suffering together, low key. Only um S- Stone. Okay, all right, okay. So you not spend the money on yourself. I'll vanish. A lot of you would like to vanish. That's interesting. Village people get wahala. You know what? Very much valid. It's best they don't know even. So I'm sure many of us would like to buy one random island and go and proclaim ourselves kings and queens of the populace there. And no internet. I think that's a dream, really. But yeah, thank you guys for sharing. Nobody's mentioned 55 Beamers, 55 Benzes, 55 Fair. Why 55? And hope you have plans for storage. You did mention the storage, the garage you have to build. Vanny says my lot would work it out when loads of money appears in their. Oh, you would be the type. Well, that's so lovely, Van. Vanny loves her family, guys. Unlike some of you that don't want to let them know that you've won money. She's going to be sharing it with hers. 55 fry. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. For me, I think it starts with the amount of plantains I buy. Plantains are currently very expensive in Lagos, so it starts with the bunches of plantains I buy and store in the kitchen. They would then know that yeah, I've got money now. But yeah, thank you guys for participating. Hopefully, one of us wins the lottery soon, and we can have like a what they call it, is it butterfly effect on TikTok, or is it full circle moment where we'll see, oh, it all started with this open all hands. So go and buy lottery tickets if that's your thing. Thank you guys for participating. Ayo, over to you.
All right. Thanks so much. I really would have loved to hear from Ian, though. We just assume that nobody will know. I had a second thought that Ian has this beautiful camera that follows him about. I think I will know from when it changes the camera to a drone, and it's somewhere in maybe some forest somewhere, some plantation somewhere, and then the camera is following him. I know, Yan, you have to tell me something. I think that's how I will know. Yeah, but other than that, I don't see any other way to know. But that was a very good one. Thank you, Miriam. Really, really, really nice. So we have quite a number of things to do today, and I really hope that we get to do them without really rushing, but also being mindful of time. But either ways, the most important thing is to have the conversation, and then is to make some headway, have good understanding, and get this community functioning better than it was before. So yeah, we look forward to that. So we have what do we mean by onboarding? We have what to document and how. We have strategy and decentralization initiatives to be spoken about by Esther. And then we also have general DF update, and then we have update from the operations cluster. Now, I have an idea. I have an idea. I have an idea. So 1 second, I remember that Vanny mentioned that we have to see who can save chat. I think anyone can save chat now.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
mention that. I was wondering if you could just change the settings, because it's sometimes really frustrating that we can't save it.
Oh, all right. I just try to change it now. Maybe Rafael can help with that while I continue to host. I mean, I didn't get the hang of it. Okay, so but I just remembered that. Thank you, Vanny. So I can specifically speak regarding the update from the operations cluster, and I know that that will not take time at all. So I'm going to veto and quickly get that out of the way, so that we can have time for every other the other very important stuff. So every now and then we have complaints, things to resolve from committee members, from awarded teams. Sometimes it's about tools that we use related to IT Circle. Sometimes about payment, which is related to Operation Circle. All right, and then we have a channel. We have 2 channels. The IT has a channel for support. Operations also has a channel for support. And so far, so good. We've been able to resolve a number of complaints and things. Wonderful, right? And then we had a call, and then we discussed, and we decided, okay, what if we step this up just a little bit more, right? What if we just become more accessible, more, less of a moving target, right? Because sometimes when you send messages, people have to reply, and then you have to come back and reply, So because of that, we decided that we could have a cross-shackle support call. Now, it's every Friday, and it's 10 a.m. UTC. You don't have to be in the call. So it's not like compulsory, you have to be in the call. But the call will always be open so that myself, Mayor, Edwin, and O are always there on the call. So if you have anything, any challenges, you are able to join the call. 10 a.m. Friday UTC, of course, you see it in your calendar. I'm just mentioning, right? And then you can say, oh, I have this issue. Yesterday, I couldn't find my money. Because usually payments go out on Thursday, right? And say, oh, it was 139 hours. I was paid for 137 hours. Can quickly help you find your missing 2 hours or something like that. And then we can just be answering on that. So we created that. Rafael Cardoso is helping before the end of the week. Before Friday, obviously, which is the first edition. You will have it in your calendar. And I think 2 points to note. So it will always happen every week, but you don't have to be in the call if you don't have any issues. Also, if you have any issues, please join the call on time, because if we stay on the call and we don't see anybody, we assume everybody's fine and we leave, right? So we're not going to stay there for 1 hour just hoping that maybe somebody has a problem, but would join sometimes, maybe towards the end of the call, something like that. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Rafael, I can see your hands, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the invites were sent at least to circle members. So if anyone is missing, please say something. If you're in the call and if you didn't get an invite, you can also send a message on to all circles and say that you're missing the invite, and we'll send it over to you. So yeah, and we'll be inviting as well awarded teams during today.
All right, thank you, Rafael. Okay, I'm happy that we didn't get to spend more than 5 or 6 minutes on that. So any questions from anyone? The idea was to use it as an opportunity to save time to move to other things. Okay, all right, thank you very much for not operations cluster also have to actively invite people to the meeting. Yes, we will do that. I'm just mentioning in this audience. We also make sure that we have some good internal communications going in on that. Thank you so much. Okay, so we can move to the other things. Look, we just made sure we just save time so that we can go to other discussions. So can we do what do we mean by onboarding? Yeah. So Vani, you want to bail the cat? Is that the proper
Sure.
jump for that?
Yeah, we don't want to take too long on this, but this came out of a meeting that Onboarding Circle had last week, where we've started thinking about the data analytics side of what we do. There's a collaboration coming. No, but we do think it's going to be quite important to keep tabs on how well our onboarding is going as a community. And we were starting to think about what metrics we should be tracking and this kind of thing. And the question came up, well, what is onboarded? Does it mean different things to different circles? So what I'd like to do, we thought it was a good idea to bring it up in this meeting rather than pinging everybody individually and doing it like that. So I'd just like to hear from people in your circle, what kind of would mark somebody as onboarded? What would kind of behaviors or actions would demonstrate that they're onboarded? What would we expect from somebody who's onboarded? What do they do that is different from what they did beforehand? So, I mean, if anybody wants to stick a hand up, or I'm going to start picking on people.
I'm the host, so I guess I have immunity. You can't call me Vani.
Yeah, go for it, Judith.
Judith has her hands up. Judith, please go ahead.
All right. I would say somebody is onboarded in deep funding if they can explain what the what the program does, what the purpose is, what the values are, what our core products are. Not extremely in detail, but a good general overview. I would say they are onboarded if they know how to use how to log their task in the payment system, if they are in the all hands channel, if they are regularly joining the meetings, if they contribute or if they're active in their channel or in their circle chat or channel. Yeah. Yeah, that's the first things that come to mind. If they know the basics about SingularityNet as well and their mission. If they have a good overview over the circles that are in the program and they know the key people. I'm not saying you have to know exactly which coordinator belongs to which circle at all times, but you have to know some of the, you should be familiar with the frequent faces in deep funding. What else comes to mind? I'm feeling like I'm forgetting something extremely important, but I'm going to stop here and let someone else speak for now.
All right, cheers. That's brilliant stuff. Anybody else got anything to add or change? And I guess from what you were saying, Judith, I'm just thinking, is it more about what you do in your circle, or is it more about what you do in the deep funding community at large? And is it more about stuff that you do in meetings or stuff that you do in Mattermost or stuff you do on your own? Ubio, go for it.
Yeah, I wrote mine down here, and I think that somehow response to the question and how I think about it. For me, you're onboarded if you know what your role is with respect to the program. You understand your role with respect to how it interrelates with the general work that we are doing. So for me, it's more on an internal base than more of the generic program. So it's once the person gets embedded into the system and understands what his or her role is and how it relates with the general functioning of every other parts of the circle, for me, that person is onboarded, and I pay more attention to that internal circle operation than even the general circle operations.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thanks. Anybody else got any thoughts? I'm looking at people who are kind of definitely onboarded themselves and are kind of key in various circles. I'm wondering, I don't know, Mariam, if you've got anything you would say, or let's see who else is here. Oscar, maybe.
Many
Oh,
hands
Jan,
up, Fanny.
Jan and Io have got hands up, and so's Edwin. Jan, go
Fanny,
for it.
yeah, you have a lot of hands on actually.
I'll keep it short. I don't want to be too present in this conversation, but I would say being onboarded partly depends on your role in the system. So I think both Judith and Ubio were right. But I think for some roles, maybe there's somebody in the review circle who's only doing milestone reviews and perfectly happy with that. And then there would be less need for these people to have a deep understanding what all other people are doing. Whether if you're more in a connecting role, like for instance Ugochi, who's working with the circles to get content for the website, yeah, then onboarding means a whole different thing. You need to know what all these circles are, you need to be comfortable contacting them and know a lot more. So that's the only contribution I want to make right now.
Cool. Thanks for that. Aya?
Before Ayo goes, can I
Yeah,
try to clarify something, Vani? And sorry, I think I missed it. Are we talking about onboarding the community or in the all circles, in the circles structuring?
Circles.
Thank you.
all right. So I think that onboarding is in 2 stages. And I think that there is onboarding generally into all circles, basically in access, having the tools, access or the tools and knowing what you need to do, right? So for me, I think I would that is everything that happens between the point where you have a successful interview and to the point where, say, for example, you submitted your wallet and you got the test payment. I would think that that's maybe the first stage. You are now in the all circles. You are within the community. I think the next one, which is now the upper stage, is finding your role within your circle or understanding your task and your you know what you need to do, and then being able to do it. So yeah.
Yeah, really good points. Edwin, I saw your hand up. Have you decided not to say it, whatever it was?
And Rakosi had
And
the hands up
Rakosi,
as
yeah.
well. And
Before I come back to
Edwin, I
Judith.
guess too. So
Yeah, I mean, Ayo seems to have read some part of my mind. That, anyways, onboarding for me, especially in the IT circle. Well, once you are onboarded, we have something like an onboarding kit where literally we talk about your roles, we run you through the tools that will help you achieve your roles, and we sort of introduce you. So once we have all that steps taken care of, then we consider you onboarded.
Right, nice one. And well, let's go to Judith then, if Rakosi is not across.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I
you're
was
there.
going to
Excellent.
say, yeah, I was going to, my input was already found in what Yan said. So it's dynamic, right? So different members are going to have different I don't know, different onboarding processes.
Mm.
But for me, we consider somebody onboarded after they've reached a point where they no longer need anybody's input to find their way around for the basic things like submitting payment, reaching out to somebody from their circle, accessing the basic tools that they need, and stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really good point. Yeah, independently active, I guess.
Yeah.
Judy.
Well, just to that last point, I'm not sure about that because that would mean I'm not onboarded because I still need help with basic stuff sometimes. What I was gonna add is someone technically is only onboarded if they feel onboarded. So therefore, there cannot be a real definition of it because you can be in a community or in a family, but if you don't feel part of it, it means nothing, right? So it's all about how the person feels. Do they feel they're onboarded? Do they feel part of this community or part of the circle? Because they can tick a whole bunch of boxes, but not feel part of it still.
Yeah,
So
that is so
technically, that
true.
would be the most important factor is how they feel.
Yep. Yeah, really good point. I can't see who that is behind the deep funding. Is that you, Cardoso?
Yeah,
You're
I
kind of in the
have the camera
dark.
on, but
No, but you're like a silhouette. I can't tell who it is.
okay, it's a mystery. Cool. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of good points here that were mentioned. Also, the part of the independence I think is important. I would add just for our circle that is important for people to have context, know the processes, and be able to contribute also with their own ideas. That's something we like to say that's something we like to have to say that the person is like fully onboarded.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like there's a difference between passively understanding stuff and actually actively starting to bring your own ideas. Abdul Bassett.
Okay, thank you very much. There is one particular aspect I was expecting someone would have said before now, but I think nobody has even talked about it. One thing is that to be fully onboarded, every single member of a circle should be feel at home, like to feel at home in the sense that you should be able to be vulnerable in the sense that you can contribute to discussions, decisions, and all. And at the same time, the most important thing that I want to say that no one has said is the payment aspect of it. Yeah, until that very payment integration is made, I can say this because of one particular member of our circle that is here to be integrated in the payment system and has been working, and that person has been working for more than a month now and yet to be paid. So that's to be considered as well as part of the most important in the onboarding process. Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah, thank you. Is there anybody else who's got anything they would add to any of that? Yeah?
It's probably said before, but I missed it when I made my own contribution, and I missed it in some other people's contribution as well, in the sense that we're all focusing at very functional things, like how can you perform in your role. But I think there's also this part of onboarding that everybody should have, is a common sense of our purpose and what we're doing and why we're doing it. I think having that shared sense of purpose is important and should therefore also be part of the onboarding process.
Yeah, I think that was raised by several people, but yeah, it's definitely a good
I'm a bad listener.
What?
I'm a really bad listener, so maybe
Oh, okay. Rafael?
No. It was sorry, it was an accident here.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, any other input? I mean, we can always, if you think of something at the last minute, then we can always post it in a channel somewhere. There's many to choose from. Yeah, I mean, so I guess what I'd sum up with, there's some really great ideas there, and it gives us a sense of the different perspectives that there are, you know, the practical and the emotional and all that. as a circle, onboarding circle has always said that onboarding is a continuous thing. You're never really onboarded. There's always more to learn. There's always more connections to make. But there might be a point at which we can say, yeah, in some sense, a person is onboarded and then they're going to start making their way on their own. So what we'll do is we'll go away with these insights and the insights that we had in our meeting and be thinking about what we should be measuring and how in order to see how our onboarding processes are going, because that's important. All right, well, thanks everyone for your time, and I don't think we've taken up more than we said we would, so cheers.
Yeah, I mean, we were actually just within time, Vani. We spent just exact 15 minutes, so that was really good. But you gave a short valedictory speech, knowing that you're still coming back to discuss what should we document and how. So I wonder if it's not going to be so strange to call you back again to also start the other conversation.
Yeah, all right, I can pick that. This is coming from a different angle. It's coming partly from a conversation that I had with Abdul Bassett, Abdul the other day, and also from Documentation Circle. We have been talking a little bit about what we should be documenting as a community. We've talked a little bit about documenting our town hall meetings and trying to get that into the kind of overall SNET archive. And Abdul is going to be working on that a little bit and using tooling from the Ambassador Programme. And we just think, yeah, it's great to do that. Back in the focus group days, Ubio built us a little tool that we kind of tried to track decisions and action items, and it didn't always go that well. We didn't always complete it, but it was a really nice little tool. I'm just wondering, from the point of view of different circles that are represented here, what do you track at the moment? And is there anything that you think that you should be tracking that you're not, or documenting that you're not? And then maybe we can move on to just chatting a little bit about what, as a community, as deep funding circles overall, do you think we should be tracking? And then I'm going to call on Jan because he's got some stuff to mention about this. But before we do that, I want to go over to Abdul to talk about the idea of collating stuff that could go in a newsletter. So that's just outlining what we've got to talk about. But yeah, is there anybody who would be prepared to put their hand up and say, what do you document in your circle at the moment, if anything, and how do you do it?
Okay, crickets.
I mean, I can kick it off. I can say that in Onboarding Circle, we have like a rolling document where we almost like basically keep minutes of our meetings and we mark action items in red. It's a little clunky, but it works for us. Judith, how about you?
Well, since we're just creating a new circle with the business development work group, I mean, currently we're still 3, but we were in the process of, documenting the basics. So I'm trying to remember it because it's about a month ago since we wrote our founding documents, but we wrote or we documented what the purpose of the circle is, what we would like to achieve in the next year. I guess we're all, all circles are documenting that with all reports, I suppose. But beyond that, we documented what success would look like for our circle and how we want our internal processes to be. How we want to, in our case, it's how we want to reach out to partners, what communication mediums do we want to use, what tools do we need, what resources do we need for them. Then obviously payments we're documenting. I mean, yeah, all circles are documenting that as well. Trying to think what else we documented. we're having a partnership database, so contacts. We're documenting contacts. What else? We documented what failure would look like in terms of creating partnerships and when we would want to get out of a partnership. And we wrote a lot about our values, about the program values and the values of the circle and how it must match with the partner. So we wrote basically a whole basic outline on the criteria that we need to have in order to go ahead with a partnership, and values was one of the biggest parts of that.
That's great. I particularly like what failure would look like. People often spend a lot of time documenting what success would look like. It's good to have the other side as well. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how to say, is it GFRIM? I'm guessing.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you're right.
Cool. How about you?
Okay, so I was speaking on behalf of the Operation Circle. As to what we document, it's mainly our circle identity as to the roles in there, because it turns out the Operation Circle have members who specialize in specific roles, so we tend to document those as well, and the tools they use. Apart from that, we have a process document, which we document the processes in terms of solutions the Operation Circle offer to the community members. So we document all of those, the step by step. If it comes to, let's say, a tooling sort of thing, we tend to document those ones as well, so that when someone else joins the circle in the future and the creator isn't there, you get to have a roadmap you would follow to either debug or improve it as well. So basically, the processes, you document the processes, the circle identity, and a couple of documents which will help. Stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah. Do you do any kind of ongoing documentation, say like the meetings that you have and recording decisions and action items and stuff like that? Or does that feel like not that necessary for operations?
Okay, for meetings, the only thing I can say we document has to be, let's say, if there is an improvement, if there is a decision to improve a process, and we come up with an MVP or a solution we've thought of, we document it down. And as time goes on, as we are evolving to bring that solution into being, we tend to put that in a documentation flow as well. And when it is completed, we now move the final one into the final document, which is the process operations circle process document.
Nice. So it's like an updating process, I see. Rakosi?
Yes, I'll be talking on behalf of the marketing circle, but I think right after me, Abdul has raised his hand and Andrea as well, so they'll probably complement what I'm about to say. So we do a lot of documentation. What we're currently working on, one of the most important pieces for us right now, is that we're documenting our TAM, basically total addressable market. We're building this list of all the actors, individuals, and teams that play within our ecosystem. We're trying to profile them, get their handles, get their email addresses, so we can be able to tag them on posts that are relevant to them. We are we're also building the list of all the previous participants in rounds. Anybody who's ever submitted a proposal to deep funding, we're documenting them as well, because we want to start these outreach campaigns where beyond RFPs, we're entertaining these people with deep funding news. What else do we document? We are currently documenting, we document our tasks, all our tasks. We document our posts. We track them all. We're able, with our content calendar, to track tasks all the way to 3 months in the past. We document our policies. We have quite a few of them. We document our strategies. We document our meetings, as Godfrey just mentioned. We basically document every single thing that we do in the marketing circle. I don't know if I missed some details. Yeah.
Cool. That sounds amazing. Yeah. Let's see if you missed some details. Andrea.
Thank you. Abdul doesn't want to talk anymore.
His hand's gone down, so I don't know. Maybe he's saving himself.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know you guys raised hand before that. And I definitely would trust you guys. And Rakusa has done justice to that already.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you have any, yeah, you can do, yeah. But I think he has done very wonderfully well.
Okay, nice. Well, yeah. As Gael said, we document almost everything. We recently came up with a code of conduct in the marketing circle. We documented the workshop in which we created the code of conduct. Also the target audience, everything, like researches that are important to the marketing circle and deep funding, especially those we are documenting and looking forward to complement, especially the profile of each audience. When I say the profile, we mean specifically what person is interested in what type of funding or topic in deep funding. And that's for learning more about our audiences and the community. So we do a lot of research, but everything is documented. And I don't think there's much to say since Gael said it already.
Cool.
Let me add one more thing. We document our KPIs.
All right.
Yes, we document our KPIs, we document all our metrics, and we have the analytics team that helps us do the documentation and helps us do the tracking. That's all.
Yeah, is there, I mean, before I come to you, Rafael, is there any other like circles that would like to say something about what they do?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I would like to talk about the Dev Outreach Circle. So I really think this is a good opportunity for people to be aware. Every Thursday, every Wednesday or Thursday, we actually post documents of whatever we discussed, that we I would say is retracted discussions of whatever we had in our meetings. We do that very religiously every week. We have an open channel, and we expect that the community would go in there, read through the important parts of our discussion to see and understand where we are per time. So we are very deliberate in documenting that. Also, we document every hackathon, especially I think the past two hackathons we've ended with sending the review. I think the last one we presented it in the town halls and also forwarded it to Rama, which he used for the AI4P's website. So at the end of those hackathons, we always document what it was like for us, the process, and yeah, we try to keep that. Currently, we are documenting the process for the platform, right? The platform is also within onboarding to the marketplace is also within our scope, and so we're trying to document. We're currently documenting the process and trying to see how we can make it easier for the community to engage with this technology in a much more easier way. Yeah, so I think those are like the three core things that we document a lot.
Nice. What I'm getting is that there's a lot of documentation going on, and sometimes we don't always keep abreast of it all of us, but it's certainly really illuminating to me to get a bit of a sense of what we do have. In a moment, I'm going to go over to Abdul to just talk about this whole question of collating material for a newsletter so we can keep abreast of each other's work. But Rafael, over to you.
Yeah, I was almost writing here in the chat. It's just to Rakosa's point, which is very nice to have these proposers and previous proposers in previous rounds for us to be able to reach out. Rakosi, we used to have another platform where we used to put the submissions. So please reach out, and then we can get even more for round 1, round 2 also contacts, okay?
Thank you.
And
Perfect.
I'm not sure which the sources that you are using, but we can also filter that. We have with Rojo. Previously, I have asked him to create the kind of CRM in the operation system, which we are not there in the new system, but yeah, we can get everything.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Right, I'm going to hand over to Abdul now to talk a little bit more about this newsletter issue.
Okay. Thank you, Vanin. Thanks everyone. What really brought about this discussion was when I had a meeting with Vanin on documenting the town hall meetings using the Singularity Net Archive tool that she has mentioned earlier. So it just come to my mind that could it be possible that we customize the tool for another template to receive some topic from different circles from the perspective of marketing circle to put in newsletter out on a monthly basis. So it happens that we need a lot of topics from different circles, and it has been very difficult to get those informations from circles. We don't necessarily have to ask people around, and sometimes it's get delayed. People take longer time to respond and all of that. So, and that was what really brought about the discussion tool to specifically collect information that will be going into newsletter. So I and when we brainstorm much more on that, and we look beyond that just newsletter, but it could be a kind of a tool or a knowledge base for anything that happens in the circles. That anybody can go in there to take information of whatever thing that you want to learn from that very particular circle. So, and there are a lot of questions as well that came up on the fact that, okay, if we are to actually do that, what kind of tool can we build? How does that tool would have to work? And who will be responsible for putting all these kind of informations or perhaps topics that happens in across different circles, probably per weekdays or whatever. So there is this question of who will be responsible for that. The whole idea of this thing is just to have a place, like from the perspective of marketing circle, we want to bring a lot of topic to our community when we want to send out newsletter. But then we need this topic to be getting from different circles, and it has been very difficult to gather topics. So we want a kind of a probably centralized knowledge base or database or whatever we want to call it. So that's exactly what brought about that. And I think Andrea actually talk about a particular solutions, but then it's be very important that we look into what the documentation circle actually working on to know how far we can go. And perhaps, like Vanny mentioned as well, Jan also, as well actually mentioned that there is a similar thing that has been submitted as an experiment into the Deep Funding Lab. So which I will be really interested to listen to Jan to hear from him if he can have a solution for this. Yeah, thank you.
Rakosi?
Yeah, I was just going to add that we are working on something similar in the labs. And I believe we're talking about the same thing. It was a request. The idea was submitted by Yan. So Yan probably has it in his mind. Haven't really had the opportunity of discussing and deep diving into the specificities of the idea, but it's something similar, right? So Abdul, it would be great if we can collaborate so that we can build that tool, sort of like a platform where people can come in and drop drop information, drop newsworthy information that the marketing circle can just go into and select from to compose this newsletter, so to speak. Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Yeah, Vanny, I think your hands were up before mine.
All right, yeah, I was just going to say that some of it is about tooling, and how that works, and that's really important. But I think some of it is just about raising all of our awareness about what kinds of things are newsletter worthy. I think we've got a little bit towards that by writing our monthly reports. We're all kind of conscious of what we want to shout about and what we want to tell people about, but I think it's a slightly different thing for a newsletter, the kinds of things. So, guidance from marketing would be great on what sort of things should you be looking out for in your circles. Go, oh, we must add that to the newsletter tool, whatever that tool may be. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vanny. I know that you want Jan to talk more about this, but just before Jan or maybe other people come up, I want to say that Abdul, I'm sure that people from event circle and maybe some people from operation circle can relate well with the challenges that comes with getting information from people. And it's not like anybody is set out to make life difficult for other people. It's just that, that happens. People have a lot that they are grappling with. So I just want to say, I just want to send some bundle of empathy your way because I've walked in your shoes. All right. The other thing I also wanted to mention, probably maybe that's what I was hoping that Rama was going to be in the call. I think I saw him come in, and I think probably, I don't know what anyone wants to speak about. That might just be it, because this conversation has been on for a while now, having some tooling where people in the community can request information from an AI. So I think that is why we were all excited about the Hive Mind project, because it goes way beyond. There are even things that. What about links? What about What about? There are many things. To be honest with you, many things that people require from day to day that they need. From other community members, and it could really be some serious headache. Sometimes you don't even know who to ask, right? And then sometimes when you even find who to ask, then it still takes time to get it, And so, and then we're all over there. So yeah, I like that the conversation is moving forward, and I'm very, very excited as to what will come out of this. Vanny, this is the point where Jan speaks, right?
Yeah, let's pass it over. Go for it.
This is the moment where Jan speaks. I think everybody is always looking for this is the moment where Jan is finally quiet, but let's change it this time. Actually, I'm very happy with the conversations in this meeting. I think this is such a great meeting. We're talking about so many meaningful things. It's great to hear all the things that you're documenting and working on, and the other conversations that we have about what it means to be onboarded and what means to be part of this program, and also looking forward to the next topic that Esther will present. So for that reason, I'll try to keep it a little bit short. So yeah, there's documenting and there's sharing, and being a product guy, when I see and a man maybe, when I see a problem, I'm thinking about solutions. And I'm already trying to build it in my mind, and maybe sometimes a little bit too quick, because sometimes it's better to wait and look at what everybody's putting at the table. So I had a couple of conversations with some people. Indeed, it was triggered by the difficulty in the marketing team to get enough valuable content for the newsletter. I heard Cardoso saying that it's sometimes hard to get people presenting in the town halls and have good topics there, or IO, I should maybe say also. And there's also this thing about product. I'm working a lot of things on the product area, and lately I made this a long video, but yeah, this is going on, and sometimes things are not ready to publish to the world, but maybe they would be appropriate to publish here in the all circles or something. So I think there's a lot that we have to share, that we can share. So if thinking about events, town halls and newsletters for that matter, things that are going outwards, yeah, having more information about projects, what projects are completed and what services are onboarded and so on. I don't think anybody has a view on that, so if we would share that kind of thing, but also hackathons, Deep Lab initiative. Hey, here's a new initiative, here's a new submission, here's a new experiment, and so on. Or, hey, here's an achievement. We do it now once a month, and then you hear everything about all the circles. But wouldn't it be better and easier if you could read it the moment that it is being published and from time to time? And when you drink your coffee in the morning, you'll just go over the latest news from the circles. There's also this endo marketing initiative, which I like a lot from marketing, with the idea of having this internal news brief. So newsletter, news brief is Dutch, sorry for that. Which would cater for a different kind of content, but there would also be some overlap between internal and external, etc. So then the question is, how do we collect it? And there is a risk that you create, whether it's a simple doc or an environment or whatever, that the first 2 weeks, some people will be enthusiastic and use it. But after time, it will get forgotten and people don't get round to it. So how do we break through that? And how do we make this as easy as possible? Now, what I proposed as an experiment for Deep Labs, but I'm looking forward to your feedback on that, is a multi-step process. So, but at the very lowest level, what we could do is select an appropriate note taker that we all think is reasonably good and not obnoxious and doesn't try to sell subscriptions, but just does what it's paid for, basically taking notes and making summaries. If we would put that note taker in, let's say, all the meetings that are being framed by the communication framework that Operations and Rafa created. So meetings with me and Rafa, with every circle member, meeting with circle members between each other or the all circles, those kind of things. Then we would have that note taker and we would collect all those notes on one place and then perhaps have an LLM who can duplicate that and make it a little bit nicer and cleaner and put that in a thread. Then we would already have a very good starting point. Now, maybe not everything is 100% accurate. Maybe it's not 100% complete, but it will be automated. And it would give everybody here the opportunity to hear all the things that otherwise only Rafael and me would hear from talking to every circle individually. So I think that would be already a great starting point and would give everybody a lot of insight. If you're interested in that, you can read through it. And then building on that, yeah, we can add all kinds of bells and whistles. I can imagine that we have a manual entry there. So apart from the automated entries, if you have something really significant or whatever, you can make a manual entry, or you can update the automated entry, I don't know. And maybe you can filter whether, well, just give me the automated one or just give me the manual ones, because I don't trust the automated ones. There's too much noise there. And that could be very useful as well. Maybe there's yet another level on top of that, where we have some people, maybe from marketing or somewhere else, or from proofreading, perhaps, that will rewrite the main things, yes, in a way that it's well written, with a good summary, maybe an image, ready to publish. And then ready to publish internally, or well, in this case, maybe mainly ready to publish externally, because internally it would already be there and available. If we would have that, we would have our own news agency, like Reuters or something, but then for deep funding, where we have all news aggregated and aligned and available in a consumable format. And now marketing's job will be easier, because they can just put this on the right social media channels. They can make an X space around it. We can put it in a newsletter. We can put it on the community website, obviously, and then be a little bit discriminate what we do where, etc. But we have this internal news, continuous news feed that will keep the world informed, because we are doing more and more and more things. So it will be harder and harder to get on top of everything we're doing. Think about that. We're working on an academy right now that will come with a lot of information as well, I hope. But it will also keep ourselves and us informed, because what we'll see, we're growing. And there's a difference in having a program with maybe 5 circles where we started out with, and we could all work together and we didn't need any process. Everybody knew roughly what was going on, I think. Maybe I'm already overestimating. Now we're having about 10 circles, and maybe we'll get 12 or 13, I don't know. It's much harder to keep up to speed what everybody is doing all the time. And I think once a month overview of everything is not the only thing we need. It's not the only fix for that. So having this ongoing news to keep each other informed will remove the silos a little bit and will help us to stay or become, depending where you come from, a program where we work together and we know what other things are doing and we feel part of that larger program and not just part of our own circle. So that would be a main objective. So yeah, oh yeah, important here. I'm talking about tooling, being a product person. So I'm thinking about this LLM and having this feed, having manual things, having edited things, maybe an LLM also on the outgoing side, or we can connect it to the avatar that was just mentioned. So that you could ask questions instead of going over it. Hey, what was the latest project that was awarded, or what was the latest project that was completed, or how many winners were there in the last hackathon, or whatever. All that data could be collected from all those nodes and that newsfeed. So that would in itself also be a very rich database. Now, it's not all tooling, as Fani pointed out as well. It's also process and content and thinking. So the way I see this work is that we have this lab experiment working on tooling, and that we have a work group working on the processes and the what and the why and a little bit of the how. And I think we have a good starting point for that in marketing with the endo marketing project. There's some people that are already focusing on it there. And yeah, I'm not sure how that will exactly be connected, if we will add a few people there or if it's just that group. I'll leave that to you. But this is my, so the main question here I would like to ask you. There's this product and all these things we can do, and we can evolve that over time and make it nicer and better and prettier. The starting point would be, would you mind if me or Rafa have a next conversation with you, with your circle, that we have a note taker there, and that these notes would be collected and would then be added to a newsfeed? I think that's a quite fundamental question to ask here.
While we're all still processing, Rafael has finished processing. Please go on, Rafael.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Yeah, towards this matter here, which is very important, and we have been trying to tackle it from a long time now, and I'm glad to see a lot of things getting connected. One of the most important things at this point is to define what's a news, the word itself, right? Because news sounds to me like something that's complete already. So then we are going to put in the newsletter, then we are going to announce and make some awareness around and exposure for that. But there are another very important topic as well, which happened exactly in this call here, coincidentally or not, which is what people are working on, right? So we also need to have this type of repository, which is not a news, right? And potentially is not even perhaps with marketing in this sense. And I know here, for instance, we discussed about in the operations about having this cross intra-circle things where you can know what's going on, or at least if someone mentioned it about something, you can know and say, hey, I'm going to talk to this person. So to have this flexibility in a seamless way as well, it's very important. So it's important for us to frame what's news here that we are willing to have, especially for the marketing, but also for this internal operation there. And I don't think we should have these under the same roof, right, of information. Well, the avatar one was also ideated way before it came in this direction of, yeah, let's ask, hey, I'm thinking in creating this thing here or this process. So is anyone in? And then the avatar would read through HiveMind in the Mattermost and know what's going on, know who are talking about that. And then you could jump there and participate, right? We don't want to disclose this type of information to the whole community at such a, Ian mentioned about academy. We not necessarily want to make announcements around academy as a news now, because it might not happen, right? And it's very big, and we don't want to frustrate people as well in the community. So I would say 2 segments here, equally important and critical for us.
Can I make a quick remark before going to the next one? So I think this kind of classification actually is part of the work group. The work group would think about what kind of classifications and filters, etc., do we need? What type of content do we need? So that's very useful. Ubio makes a remark here, and I will be more careful what I say. And people react to it with smileys, which is good, but it's also a serious thing. So the way I see it today is that if it's an official thing, like from the framework, we will have the note taker there. So if I, Ubio, if I would be talking to you in the context of developer outreach circle, and now maybe with Riyadh there as well, I think, then it would be a note taker there. If you would request, hey, Jan, can we have a one-on-one? Then we wouldn't have that note taker. So I don't think we always everywhere need to have that note taker. But on these regular update meetings, I think it would be useful. That's it.
Okay. Rafael, Cardoso, please.
Yeah, so interesting conversation. I think it's a really good solution that we need. I would just I would say this is something we are also discussing in the 3 circles. So about having this repository and getting the information. In my opinion, I think we just need to be careful with the note takers. And we've had that experience before, where the note taker really takes things out of context. It doesn't highlight the most important things. And one experience we had recently was when we were preparing, I didn't go, but I was in the initial discussions when we were preparing the live event. After that, Jan was not in call, but I think he read the notes and he came with some questions. And I was not understanding why those questions and why those concerns until I went to read the notes and saw how much different it was from the actual conversation we had. And I think that's something we need to think about. In the discussions we're having with the 3 circles, what we suggested and the approach we would be following is it would be more like trying to identify what is the kind of information that is the most relevant, what are the sources of this information, and then think about processes to easily gather this information, or at least try to do it in a more automated way. And then see how that would fit all together. So instead of just having an LLM and trying to cover everything with that and with the note taker, would be potentially creating different processes to get the most relevant information. Yeah, I think that's it, I believe.
Okay, let's go to the next R. Andrea Royce.
Thank you. So I wanted to reply to Bani on the message. The newsletter, the internal one, is meant to inform and to invite people to participate. So we haven't thought of how to select a segment. We were thinking about sending emails to every member in the circles. But I think that's an important topic. Probably not everybody wants to receive the newsletter. I think, though, it's important because it would be a way to be informed and to learn what's happening, what is going to happen. As Rafael said, we won't share something that's not concreted. So yeah, that's the goal. But yeah, we have to discuss about that. And internal communication, the team is working on a document that we will share later with the topics that both the newsletter, the external newsletter and the internal newsletter will have. So you guys help us with whatever topic is missing there. But if it's complete, then we will start working on them. But I really appreciate, I also want to say I really appreciate this conversation because yeah, we had this conversation with Jan, and I find it really important. Regarding the note taker, we said probably only for official meetings and information that we really want to share. And that's a really easy way to collect information. Otherwise, we would have to do it manually, but we can also find a way to do so along with the documentation circle or knowledge circle. I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Andrea. Vani's hands up, so maybe Vani will also respond to that. So we have Rakosi. Rakosi, please go ahead.
Yes, I do understand that the basic understanding here is that it's going to be for internal members, meaning people a part of the deep funding community. But I want to find out basically, do we have to worry about competitive intelligence here? Where maybe, I don't know how competitive our space is, where maybe competitors are going to get access to what we are about to do, and maybe, I don't know, get ahead of it. I don't know how competitive the space is. I just want to put that out there. Is there a risk there, or is that something worth considering, or?
No,
that's
I
all.
think there's no risk at all. We're very transparent in general, but it's
Okay.
more like expectation management. Do you want the community to hear about something that we're just starting to discuss internally and that we haven't formed an opinion on, for instance? And there are also topics that are just not that interesting to people outside. How do we work with compensation or with our management or whatever? So it's not about secrecy. It's more about timing and accuracy and expectation management, I would say. And also there's maybe this part that we want people to feel safe to communicate, and
Okay.
keeping it internal may make it easier for people to share some things if they know that it's not automatically shared with the world. But
Okay.
secrets and competitive information, no, I'm not in the least concerned about.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Rama, I think.
Yeah, Rama, please.
You are muted, Rama.
Okay. Vani, please go ahead. I think Rama has some network.
Oh, we lost him. Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, he's back.
Go ahead,
There you
Vinny.
go.
I'll come after you. I'll come after you. Go ahead. Sorry, I was on mute. I was trying to figure out the mute button.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. Well, I just wanted to go back to what Rafa said earlier. Rafa made a point of we're talking about two different things, and I think And I think I completely agree. We need to make a distinction between a newsletter and an internal tool where everything is sort of things that are coming up, things that are past, everything is sort of hosted. I'm thinking of an intranet of sort, right? That allows people to constantly, like, organically go there to know what is happening with the program. It's two distinct things, because a newsletter informs you of things that either are completed or to come, right? But it's not a catch-all, right? And it can't be a catch-all, because oftentimes, and I think Yen make mention of this, newsletters have a habit of, I get the first one, I'm very interested, I'll read through it. Second one, I'll read through it. The third one, you start to lose me. And you go right back to the point where people go, well, I wasn't informed about this. Meanwhile, it was in the newsletter, right? If you have a place that is a constant place where things are continuously updated and everybody can contribute to, it's essential intranet that is coordinated as a community. I don't know. And I think that's what Rafa was making mention of. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rafa, but I think that's what, and I think it's two different things. That was it.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you, Rama.
Yeah, that's the case.
Yeah, Vani.
Yeah, a couple of things that have come up from listening to people. I'm seeing in the chat all the stuff about, the timeless newsletter that, it's a Doctor Who timey-wimey wonderfulness that lives outside of time. I kind of get that, but I actually think an internal newsletter, its focus should be on stuff that you can get involved in, as that holds people's interest. And I think that addresses what Rama was just saying about how, the first one, you read it with eagerness. The fourth one, you're just like, yeah, I kind of know this, or I've read this already, or whatever. So too much focus on what has been done doesn't allow people a way into it. I also worry a little bit about the responsibility to read the newsletter. I don't want us to develop into a thing, well, if you don't know that, it was in the newsletter, you should have read it. Well, what's wrong with you? I think that could be a bit problematic. And I do see that sometimes in other communities. So I don't know. I worry a little bit about what kind of information. I also wanted to just mention that Documentation Circle is doing a bit of thinking at the moment about what is internal information and what is external. And the distinction is so important, particularly around, internal to what? Do we mean internal to just this community, the circles, or do we mean like the broader communities that we are part of? For instance, those who propose or vote, or like our wider fan base or whatever. And it's another kind of segmentation thing, isn't it? Who needs access to what? But yeah, I also just wanted to raise the whole thing of the note taker thing. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's really useful, particularly transcripts rather than summaries, because as I've said before, AI can't summarize, in my view. It doesn't understand our context well enough, and it cannot understand relative importance, so it fucks it up. But if we want to summarize, we can have the human in the loop approach that enables that. And I just think checking before anything that was created by a note taker ever goes out publicly is crucial. That's about it.
All right. Thank you, Vani. Rafael, please go before Jan.
Yeah, thank you. And honestly, that's why I love to talk to you all. It makes my brain run faster as well and bring things. Regarding what we are talking, even though the idea, the need is old in my mind, I never thought about, but how can we have this type of information on what's going on, not complete or to become in such a system, right? Where people can go there and even an LLM can go and understand and see. So here's the thing. We can use, if used rightly, and it's effort of all of you, this is another topic that I wanted to talk to you. If we are using right the open projects or the task management system, TMS, we can have this as a source of what's going on, right? Because the TMS we are using practically as an hour registry. We are putting hours there to receive the payment. We are not using properly. Hey, I have this task here. So before you start the task, go there and create your task in your board. And now you can follow the things and even know all the tasks that you have to do, right? And plan yourself better to deliver a better quality work and with more productivity or whatever, and make more time for you as well, right? But João Pedro, JP from operations, he did this 2 months ago, I believe. He did this research, not sure the status now, but most of the inputs are coming in the system by Wednesday to receive the payment on Thursday. So we are merely using it the wrong way, right? And this is something perhaps cultural that we should be changing before we start using the TMS as the in fact source for what's going on here. So yeah, I believe you got the point. So 2 stages here. First, let's start using TMS the right way, putting the tasks for us to manage, and also for well, I would say myself, see what's going on. Oh, we have this type of things here, and we have categories, so we can have better insights from it. This is one thing, but also now with this additional rationale and purpose behind.
Okay. Abdul, your hands were up, but you changed your mind. All right. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I want indeed to be last. I'm making notes of everybody and want to give my perspective on some things. Regarding note taker, yeah, I think we need to do some research. Note takers change and improve all the time. So one reason why I'm a little bit more open to this is I had this one-off experience with a note taker called Grain. It was used in a pod leader meeting in SingularityNet, and I actually make the comment. I read it afterwards, and I was in part of the meeting, but not all of the meeting. And then it was just distributed in mail. So I got a mail, and in the mail was, because I was in the meeting, I got the summary of that meeting. So that was the first thing that I really liked. I don't have to log in anymore. I don't have to subscribe. I'm not getting tricked into, hey, here's the first few sentences, but if you want to read more, please subscribe. Not all of that, and then getting haunted by that thing for the rest of your life. It was just there on a platter without questions asked. Hey, here's the summary. So that's the thing I liked. And then I read through the summaries. They were concise, they were clear, and they were exactly as I remembered it. It's only one experience, one occasion. Maybe it doesn't always do so well. Maybe my memory was, I'm not a good listener. Maybe that played part of it as well. I don't know. But for me, it would be worth a try, this one, and maybe there are other ones like it. So then on the accuracy point of note takers, yeah, we can address it in different ways. We can just share these summaries and accept that sometimes it's not completely right, but hey, we're in this, it's an internal thing, it's just a raw news feed, we're aware of that, so we'll figure it out. That's one way. Another way we can have that human in the loop. And now, one way of addressing this from a product view would be, well, you have the note taker, and then you go over the summary, and then you select the parts that are right, and then paste that manually in that feed. Why does it need to be automated? I think there's a very large chance that will work for 3 to 4 weeks, but after that, people get sloppy and there are other things, and then we have these 3 back-to-back meetings, and then we forget about it, etc. However, if we do it first automated, but then maybe not perfect, then maybe there's more of an incentive to go back to that raw feed and read it and say, actually, this is not right. I'll make some changes here. We could even go as far and saying per meeting that we let the note taker and then the LLM do their thing, but wait for approval from the organizer of that meeting. So you only say, okay, oh, here's a change to have it published. So there are all kinds of ways to improve, and all this takes work and time, etc. So maybe it's a process that we improve it step by step. But I think there are ways we can improve it, and having the foundation that is automated will ensure that at least there's always that stream of content going on. Because I can guarantee you, if you will count on me taking manual cut and paste, copy paste, and then even rewrite it and put it in something, it won't happen. I don't know about you guys. I have often back to back from morning till afternoon, on average 20, 30 hours of Zoom calls every week. It would be a significant task for me. Approving something, well, maybe. So yeah, there are ways around that. I heard Andreas say something about sending newsletters and do we need to ask permission to send a newsletter, etc. I don't think it's a stretch to say, hey, if you're part of the program, you'll get a newsletter. You don't have to read it, but you're getting it. And that is your opt-in. Being part of this program would be your opt-in of receiving that newsletter. I don't think that would be a great stretch here. Whether a newsletter should, or internal newsletter should only talk about things that you want to be involved in, reacting to Vani here. I think that's a good trigger, but I don't think it's only that. First of all, different people can be involved in different things, and I don't need to be involved in everything. So that's already different per person. But I think there's also something like inspiration or learnings or insights. So, you're doing it that way. That is great. Oh, you had this intervention in your circle. There was this conflict and you solved it in a certain way. Well, that is really interesting and inspiring. I wasn't looking for this information. I didn't know it existed, but now I read it. Maybe half a year from now, I'll remember it and then I can apply it myself. So yeah, I think it's the topic is wider than just things that you can be actively involved in. Yeah, and then last thing here, we can think about a little bit what kind of content we want to have for this internal newsfeed and what kind of content we want to have for a Q&A avatar. So a Q&A avatar could get whole transcripts, could go to the task management system, see all the tasks that have been done over the past half year, and you could ask very targeted questions and get a very specific answer. But that is a different use case than serving news that has a more than average or above threshold attraction to a number of people. But I don't have a full solution for that, but just ways of thinking about it. And this would be up to the work group and the lab experiment team to iterate on together at the same time and see what they will come up. And maybe it's something completely different than I have in my mind right now because of this design thinking process, I would almost say. Rafael.
Cardoso, can I just make an invite before you go here? For anyone that is willing to participate in this work group, please reach out to me in Mattermost, okay? And we can discuss this.
Rafael, so I'll try to remember what I was going to say because that was a lot, but I think it was related to the summaries. I think it's just also like something to think about is the balance in terms of the work, right? Sometimes it can be easy to, after an important call, to write 3 bullet points of what was the call about, then to go through the entire summary. But once again, it depends on the technology, it depends on what we have. So I think it's just the balance of finding what is the least friction also for the circles. And sometimes, although the AI helps writing things, if the review process is too cumbersome, then that could be an issue. And at some time, we could also give up reviewing because of that. And on my side, I think like having wrong information for me, it's more concerning than sometimes lacking information. So that's it.
Maybe we can even make it optional, and some people will choose the note taker route, and others will commit to saying, "Okay, no, I'll make a summary myself for every meeting," and then check if it's actually happening over time. Both the note taker, if it's not going off in all kinds of directions, and the manual thing. But maybe there's a personal flavor and a personal option there as well.
I think it's also sometimes automatizing reminders. Sometimes we send a lot of messages to people to remind them because it's needed, because people are so busy. If we could automate that in some ways before a newsletter or at some point in time, I don't know, we can decide what is the trigger for those messages. I think that sometimes helps a lot, or at least for me. I don't know about the rest of the circles, but please share what you think.
Okay, great discussion. Allow me to steer us further into the agenda. That was good quality 1 hour, double the time that we allotted. So please forgive me if I say that if you, as a reminder, if you're interested, please reach out to Rafael Presa. If you have some personal research on note takers that you have documented, please also share. And I guess we will continue from there asynchronously, and then maybe we'll talk about it at some other point. Okay, so that's from me and everybody. A big thank you to everyone. Now we have Esther to discuss. We have something about our strategy on decisions and the initiative about it. So maybe we can go right into it. Esther?
That's great. Thank you so much. Is it possible for me to share screen? I sent a request. I should have thought of it before while we were talking, but I forgot that I need those permissions. It's been such a wonderful discussion. I really enjoy all of it, and things move so quickly in deep funding. I've noticed that the second I have a thought about how things could be done in deep funding, somebody's already thought of it first. It's already happening. Like right at that moment, it's happening.
If you're the host, you're gonna need to be the
No.
one
Esther, you can share screen now. I took care of that.
I see it. Thank you. I think I'm just going to, just as soon as I find it. So everyone can see my screen? I can see that I'm sharing. Hopefully everyone else can see it too.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so the Deep Funding Decision-Making Initiative, which is really about how deep funding does new things and starts to move on its own, and how things can be initiated from the community, and how there can be more involvement with the circles. Sorry, there's a little bit of noise in my room because my daughter is here over the summer, and that's all going on in the background. In a sec. Cool. So yeah, the purpose is taking the part of kind of half research project and half experimentation ground. So the general purpose is to see how decisions are made in deep funding, who makes them, both inside the circles, but also outside for program-wide decisions, and how they can be improved. But one critical question is, what does improvement mean? And that's one of the questions that is part of what we're trying to find out. Is it more decentralization? Is it fairer decisions? Is it faster decision? What makes an improved decision in the program? So these are questions that I would invite you all to reflect on as as time goes on and throughout the project, because I'll be speaking to a lot of people and gathering your views on how decisions are made in deep funding and how your practices are in your local environments. So there's a kind of lots of different pieces to this. I call them phases, but they're not really phases because they're not sequential. So there are elements that are about listening to you. There are about elements that are about surveying and exploring different tooling and experimenting and measuring. So the listening sessions are one-to-one sessions and sometimes group sessions as well, with circle members to hear exactly what you think. These sessions are anonymous. They're entirely voluntary, so I'm not forcing anybody to take part, but they also yield the richest information about what happens in deep funding and how people feel about things that are happening in deep funding. And everyone's perspective is different, of course, and I really want to hear everybody's unique perspective because everyone has new insights and everyone has different experiences. And then another piece of it is surveying. So that's everyone's familiar with the classic survey format. That's gathering quantitative data to understand how decisions are made and how your feelings might be changing over time. So we might start with a basic survey and then repeat it or repeat parts of it to see how things might change in response to some of the experimentation that we're doing. And that will tell us whether it's working or not, and in what ways it's impacting people. And then exploring is about what kinds of tools and processes and best practices there are out in the wild that we might be able to learn from, and also particularly like what practices could be used with tooling that we already have. So for example, we have our Lumio subscription, but it feels to me like maybe there are tricks that we don't know about to do with Lumio. There might be good supportive mechanisms and processes that we can put into practice alongside Lumio to support it and make it more effective and make people feel more included. Things like that are all things that I want to find out and will be requesting support in doing over the next few weeks. And then experimentation, after we've collected all of this information about how people feel and what they experience, and insights about what you think might be really helpful, I think it will be extremely useful to create experiments, even really small ones, like even the tiniest thing that might be able to make a process smoother and make people feel more included might be helpful to try in circles or at the program level. So over the next few weeks, it will be great to brainstorm with you all about what you think will be the most impactful change that we can make at this point. And finally, of course, measuring. So checking against the survey baseline and against the experiment objectives. So each experiment, of course, will be different. We'll be expecting different purposes from each experiment. So it will be really valuable to see like what kinds of impacts it had, and be able to report back to all of the circles about how that's unfolding. And that's it really. Those are the 5 pieces, 5 moving parts that are to do with this project. I want to invite anyone who's interested to just in governance at large and in decision making to join the decision making work group. It's sort of not really a work group yet. It's more like a kind of public space where people can keep updated with the project so far and keep updated with opportunities. I would say that it's not really likely to take the format of a conventional work group, because people will have different skills at these different kinds of research types. So some people will be more comfortable researching tools and processes, and some people will be more comfortable doing data collection. And so it's going to be more kind of fluid and dynamic than that. But of course, it will be onboarded onto the payment system in the same way that the other work groups are. It will just be that the internal processes are a bit different. But even if you just want to keep updated, I would say that is probably a good public forum to kind of keep you in the loop and keep you up to date with where the research process is going and what kinds of experiments might be expected, because that means that any interdependencies are also revealed. So instead of just sharing that information with the relevant circle that might be doing an experiment, everyone can see because there are different dependencies between circles. And maybe in time that becomes more of a kind of governance forum So the All Circles channel is really great for telling people about when the all hands are going to be and sharing information. But I wonder if maybe like having a special dedicated channel where people can specifically talk about how the program governance is going and how decision making is going might be quite helpful. And then people who are interested and active can surface, and perhaps there'll be new ways to participate and develop, especially through these experiments. I also want to shout out to Vani and Stephen, who's been really helpful in putting together the research strategy, and I'd like to call out to anybody again who would like to take part in some of the experimentation and some of the tooling exploration, because I can't do it all myself, and there'll be people who will have much better understanding of how tools work and how natively the processes can be implemented in deep funding, because nobody knows it better than you. And that's my little presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Esther.
Oh yeah, and a big shout out also to people who've talked to me already. I really appreciate it, and there have already been so many insights about what can change and how you feel about decision making, and I look forward to talking to you more.
All right, thank you, Esther. So we can have the responses and the questions and the comments now. I have a question. I was afraid that it was more of a devil's advocate question, and I was hoping to reserve it till everybody else has asked the very wonderful questions. But now that we're waiting for questions, is this supposed to be, when you say a work group, can people who are already part of maybe 2 circles or thereabout join? Is that a thing, or is that a thing of concern or anything like that? Is it just open to everyone within the community?
It is, yeah, it is open to anyone in the community. I would recommend that people be open with the amount of time that they're able to dedicate to it from the beginning, and try not to overcommit. But otherwise, because it's quite many of these moving pieces are actually quite short, I don't see why people who are in other circles couldn't join, because it's not a permanent situation. It's just a temporary work group theoretically, and each piece of the research is fairly time boxed.
All right, thank you, Esther. Paulo, please.
Yes, I have a question about the first there. We work with a lot of decision making every day in our circle, and I would like to feel how is your perception about the consequence of this decision making. It's not understand how do you feel the people feeling when they are taking decision? Are they thinking about the future, this consequential, or they want to only participate in the process of decision? Did you get it? The people engage on decisions. Do you think they are only in this part of, okay, I have a decision, I want to participate, I want to be in the part of, I want to give my voice? Or do you feel the people are thinking about the future? Okay, but if this don't go right or go wrong, what we can do? How do you feel this there, please?
It depends. It depends on the person. There are so many different opinions and views about decision making that it really depends on the person. I didn't fully understand what you meant by looking towards the future, though. Is it, are you thinking about that people might be afraid of the consequences, or are you saying that they're more focused on how things might evolve in the future?
Sorry, Paulo. Esther, I think just to clarify, and then Paulo can clarify further. I think Paulo is asking that from your perspective and your experience doing this, do people join decision making because they want to have a say, or do they join decision making because they are concerned for the future of the program or the community?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
When you say concerned about the future, what does that mean? Because I'm not quite sure what the difference is between those two things.
Yeah, I think what Paulo is saying is that from your view, from what you've experienced, do you think people want to do decision making because it's their sole right as a decentralized ecosystem, or they want to help the community. They're thinking that I want to join this decision making because I am trying to steer the program in the right direction, or as far as I know, that kind of a thing. So he's saying that is it mostly, oh yeah, it's decentralized, they have to hear my voice, or is decentralized, we are all responsible for how this turns out?
I think I understood the question. So yeah, so I don't think those are the only two options. I think there are many options. There are many reasons why people take part in decision making, and some of them are could be about how they feel, that they want to exercise their voice, but some also are very, very connected to the program. But again, it's too early to tell. So I'll make sure to keep everybody posted with the results from what's coming in. But like I said, it's very free form. There are people who have both impulses as well, and there are people who don't want to make decisions at all, or feel that hierarchy is more the way to go. So there's a very wide range, even among the limited number of people that I've spoken to. There is a very wide range of reasons for wanting to take part or not wanting to take part in decisions. So yeah, it's sort of both. And sometimes it's both within one person.
Paulo, does that answer your question?
Yeah,
I was just
understood
an interpreter. Okay.
I understood what Esther said, and because when it was usually the people are not deciding, they are criticizing who. Usually, I feel this, criticizing who taking decision, but take decision we have some risk because you have some problem inside of the circle. For example, we as coordinator, we have to take charge on this too. So. In almost all decision, it's not a clear yes or no. It's like a compromise between risk and the profit. So we try to equilibrate these things. And when you see the people are inside to take decision, they want, for example, as you mentioned it, Ayo, oh, I want to participate, I want to engage, I want to think. You are more open, I feel, more open to take the risks too. So this is why I would like to know more about your feelings there, to see the profile that people are dealing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Abdul Basit, please.
Yeah, thank you, Ayo, for interpreting Paulo's question. But I just want to say something that I think I picked from what Paulo is saying as well. The consequential effect of decision making. Like if I am in charge or part of people that made a particular decision, whatever the outcome of such decision is, what like the consequences, what would be the how do such people who are in that very position of decision making feel if something goes wrong? I can think of this perspective from Paulo. There was a particular time they were having a meeting at the review circle. There was a particular decision that was made. I could not recollect very well. So I was trying to bring some kind of suggestions at that point in time. So a lot of people feel not really included in the process, and that has been a very tough ride. Though I've seen a lot of improvement in that very regards of how much people are contributing to what is happening in the review circle. So it's a very long stuff. So if leaders are making decisions to actually achieve some certain things, at some point, some members of the circle will be affected. So I think that is exactly what Paulo is looking into. Like if he made this decision to focus on this part, some part might be affected. Like how should these people in that very position feel in terms of consequential or perhaps reaction from the members? I don't know if that is Paulo actually.
I can run upstairs. I want to show you. I can do all that stuff on the thing.
I can't, maybe not right now.
Yeah, on that.
Yeah, let's hear her, please. I think she's making very good points.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
That's not decentralized enough, not letting us hear her voice. This was just, I mean, Esther, you should lead by example.
I have suppressed the voice of the minority. Sorry, can you repeat the last couple of sentences of what you said, because I was totally not there.
I think what to put it in a very summarized word is like, how do people who are in charge of decision making feel at the end of the day when decision were not really peradventure satisfying the expected outcome, or perhaps that very decision favors some part of people who are part of the members and not all the members. So when the reaction comes, how does these people feel? Would they have that very potential to make some other decision in the future, or perhaps they would just have to opt out and do nothing again? So I think I don't know if I'm correct. What Polo is actually looking into the consequences of making decision, and who are people that are responsible for making such decision. What would be the consequences of the outcome of that very decisions, whether it is good or the other way around?
I'm
You're
muted.
muted, Esther.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, so just let me understand the question. So is it that you're asking how do people handle it when the impact of the decision is poor and they opposed it to begin with? So are you talking about the what happens if, for example, in a hypothetical situation, a circle member said, I don't agree with this decision, and then it goes ahead anyway, and the impact is poor, then what power do they have? And what capacity does the circle have to change their decision-making methods in the future?
Yes.
I mean, that's yeah, go ahead.
That's
Okay, that's a really interesting question. I mean, that's something to consider perhaps in experimentation and in learning, because this is part of, in a way, this is part of organizational memory. So how did we do things in the past, and how do we learn from those things, and what support do we need in order to learn from those things without making everything unnecessarily bureaucratic? Because you could say we're going to log every single decision that we make, and then we're going to like look at the spreadsheet and then see like how we did. But it's possible that the burden on the circle would be so great, and that the process of learning would actually be much better done organically, or with, let's say, like minimum framework of intervention. So that's something that I would invite every circle to reflect on. Maybe have a special session or something where you're thinking about decision making, where you're not thinking about any of the other day-to-day business. You're just thinking about how we make decisions and how we learn from decisions in our circle, because that sort of meta thinking is really what takes you to the next level. And how do we measure those sorts of things, and how do we keep them alive in the organizational memory, in the memory of the circle, and sharing in between circles these insights about how we solve these problems is critically important for how the organization evolves. But it does require dedicated time, because if we don't dedicate attention to it, then we end up not really doing anything about it, and we end up kind of falling into the path of least resistance.
Rani, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think there's also a really important distinction when we look at decision making between the methodology that we used and the outcome. I mean, I think that last question was very much about the outcome of the decision. You know, how did it go in the end? We decided this. Was it a good decision? And there's all sorts of questions there about what we mean by a good decision, and different people are going to have different perspectives on it. So it's how we capture those different perspectives. And I think the question of how we want to make decisions is kind of like another thing. I don't know. It kind of feels to me that if you make a decision in a way that feels right to the community, even if the decision turned out to be the wrong one, I don't think it's all bad. Maybe that's a silly position to hold, but I really feel that, I mean, for me personally, it's around inclusion, and it's around decentralization, and it's around making sure that the barriers that people might feel towards making a decision have been addressed. Because in this community, there's theoretically nothing to stop someone coming and being part of a decision. But that doesn't mean that there aren't any barriers. Of course there are. and identifying what they are and thinking about how we overcome them is important. But if we do all that and then we still make decisions that 6 months down the track we just go, oh bollocks, that was a terrible decision, I don't think it's all bad, as long as we've learned how to decide in ways that we believe in.
I think that's a really good point, and I think that it's worth remembering that it's kind of a continuum of learning as well. So there's not going to be a point where we say, oh yeah, we've discovered the perfect decision-making method. I think it's just an iterative process of learning and see what works for each circle and see what works on a program-wide level, and providing channels through which people can be heard and being open to change as we go along.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just want to chip in basically to what Vani was saying. I completely agree. When at the beginning you entered what is improvement in decision making, then I wrote down as a first point and the main point, having more support and buy-in for the decisions that we make, because that will create a fabric within our organization and bind us more together and create a culture. And then as second point, I had the quality of the decision. And yeah, to what Vani is saying, I can imagine that we all agree that going left here is a great thing. But then 3 months down the line, we're saying, oops, this was a little bit stupid. There are some unforeseen things. And then we go right or the other way. And then as a program, we'll have learned something and it will bring us together, versus a situation where we made the right decision right away, but half of the people were not convinced or more, and we did make the right decision. We are going in the right direction immediately, but from a helicopter overview, the outcome would actually be worse than going together in the wrong direction first and then in the right direction. So yeah, feeling that you're part of decision making and ensuring that there is a reasonable amount of support for the decisions that we are making. It doesn't have to be 100% all the time, but that people trust the way that decisions are made, and that at sometimes they will also commit and say, well, I don't agree, but you know, in the way that we are making decisions, I commit myself, and it's okay. That would be a good place to be, so that you also have the feeling that you can make a change yourself and that you can be part not only of the program and earning money, but also of molding the program and making those decisions.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Ian. So I was going to, I put what I wanted to say in the chat. Maybe Esther has some rounding off comments or things to say.
So I see in the chat, so how do we decide what a good decision is? So that was one of the questions that I put in the slides for people to go away and reflect on a little bit and see what they think. And to an extent it's something that internally is culturally encoded into circles, because the circle is made up of the group of people who are inside, and they often kind of drift towards a shared definition, even if it's implicit, a shared definition of what the right decisions are or what good decisions are. It's not always functional necessarily, because there may be people in the group whose personalities are more dominant than others, and they sometimes drive the definition, which is why it's good to reflect explicitly on what we think a good decision is, and it's very like entangled with how those decisions should be made, because the way that you make a decision, if your priority is decentralization, is very different from the way that you make the decision when it's about efficiency. So to a degree, it's about kind of micro communities of values that are kind of popping up with deep funding. And one interesting part of that will be what happens when we start tinkering on a kind of deep funding program-wide level, because all of those micro communities have to kind of come together to have a shared definition of what a good decision is on the program-wide level. And one thing that seems to be coming up over and over again is this notion of purpose and communicating vision and shared purpose together, so that everyone can kind of get behind that and understand what we're all working towards. And even if the definition of a good decision is different, it still kind of filters back to this shared sense of purpose. I can see that Aya's got a second question, which is how do we document decision outcome lessons so that members can make better or more informed decisions going forward? I think, first of all, again, like I said, dedicating time to thinking about that sort of thing within your circle is really helpful. And I do think that documentation is really helpful in that regard as well. So thinking of some way to have key processes, have key decisions reflected upon and documented somewhere so that we can kind of track those over time would be really helpful. But as to how that's done, again, it's so different. Like the culture of each circle can be really different across the program. So yeah, it's something that maybe if you set up some time to think about, okay, so which decisions are most important for us to track and how are we going to do it? That would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you so much. And then Jan also made dropped a very important comments in the chat section. All right, so once again, we doubled the time allotted to this particular discussion. Well, it was quite good. It was quite good, and then we can finally, after this very wonderful discussion, move to the final item on the agenda. And maybe we don't even have we don't even have anything else to discuss, but it's DF general updates. So Rafael and Jan.
Well, just one thing, Jan. I know we are running late now. Guys, congratulations. We had 46 members, as I saw here, engaged in more than 1.5 hours with us. Thank you very much to all of you. It was a high-level conversations that we had here with very important and critical topics. So yes, I immensely, my gratitude for all of you that are joining us and making this happen. It's amazing, okay? And also thank you for the organizers. And also Ayo, right? That is here. It is Mayo bringing us the joy of participating. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you, the event circle as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Rafael.
More than half of the members in the all circles.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rafael. Jan, please.
Yeah, I agree to both points, Rafael. It also occurred to me that today we have a great host. So thank you for that. You really have talent for that. Great work. And yeah, being here together with all of you and discussing these things openly and thinking how we can improve the project constructively with all having this shared idea that we want to improve. Maybe if we go into the details, we disagree on some minor points on what improvement means, etc. But yeah, having these discussions, it's extremely valuable. Think about how many real-world organizations would spend 2 hours, maybe regularly, of all people in the organization thinking about, hey, how can we improve our processes and make this a better organization? So that in itself, I think, is a very valuable thing to have. But also, I firmly believe that if we have these discussions from time to time, it will also actually improve what we're doing. I also, a word of thanks to Esther as well. I think it's great, Esther, to have you here and have you here on this topic. I think I speak for everybody if I say that we trust you with this very important topic. So I think it couldn't be in any better hands than you, except maybe the hands of all of us together. But I'll stop there.
Thank you.
I really
Thanks
appreciate
so
that.
much,
Thank you. And I just want to say that everyone is so amazing in this process. Like, I really love how engaged people are and how much people really care about deep funding. Like, that's really coming out. So how much people love the program and want the program to be the best that it can be and contribute and be part of things. So it's really inspiring. Thank you all.
All right. And on that note, I think we can call it a week. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. It was so amazing. Thank you for your time, for your contribution, for the questions, for the participation, for the thoughts, for the time. We really, really, really are very grateful. On behalf of the event circle, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week for the town hall. I have saved the chat, so I will share in the channel, Vani. And then we also have recording, definitely. So yeah, thanks so much, you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.